Hey, how you doing, everyone?
Hi there.
Coffee with Jack is back.
Hey!
But it's coffee with wine.
Coffee with wine.
Mine's not wine and it's not
Orange juice,
alcoholic.
but she is in a very fancy gin glass because she's got to be one part of the girls. Yeah.
Cheers.
Speaking of which, cheers. Yeah, love to be back.
And let's see what we're going to talk about today.
Okay. Yeah.
Like we don't know what you want to talk about.
We do. We've been, she's been really passionate about this all week.
I have.
And we agree with you, really,
Yeah.
because it's just constantly, in all that we do, the three of us in our working and our coaching with people, it is something that keeps coming up and people look for our support.
They do indeed. We're going to talk about gender.
Yes.
I have been doing quite a lot of travelling lately, and I think I'm right in saying that when I was applying for my Russian visa, I was asked to select my gender from 56 options.
Great.
I was gobsmacked, and thank God mine was the number one top one, because as I worked down the list, I'm not ashamed to tell you that I hadn't got a clue what they were. And I believe, and please, and I know you will shout me down if I'm wrong, but there are so many people like me out there who don't know. It's such a sensitive issue, they don't know how to ask. And if somebody says they are non-binary, for an example, you go, oh, and then ignorance just takes over. We don't know what they are.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really important point you're making, that people don't know how to ask. And I'm really lucky. I work in an environment with choirs where we have members who identify as non-binary, trans, intersex, cisgendered, female, male, etc.
See, already you've lost me.
Yeah, you see.
Cisgender,
But what we do is
mm.
we there's a campaign, certainly in Brighton at the moment, where people can wear a badge that says my pronoun is, and then you choose what you want to say. So if I'm identifying as a cisgendered female, so I'm saying I was born a woman, these are the parts that I have, my gender expression is female as well, I'm saying I'm female and my pronoun would be her and she. So what would you say yours is?
Yeah, likewise.
The same?
Her,
Yeah.
she.
Her and she.
Yeah.
Karen?
Exactly the same. Yeah, female, her, she.
Okay, but so then if there's a member of one of the choirs I work with, or a friend who says I don't identify as straight or cisgendered female, lesbian, etc., then they might choose to use the pronoun they. So for example, some of the trans members that I work with and non-binary members would would choose the pronoun they. And to some people that's confusing, because they're thinking, well, they already has a meaning somewhere else. But actually it's always been there. It's just about re-educating the people that we know and work with, and say, okay, if you're a trans person, then you have to use that pronoun out of respect. And you can ask someone, say, what pronoun would you like me to use?
And of course, we have to remember that, does everybody know what a pronoun is? We're really talking this at another level. We have to be, if we're talking about clarity, we have to be clear. How do you want to be identified as she, her, they, them? If we talk grammatically, we're already losing a very high percent of the, we really are. And we're not talking about because people are ignorant or not. Is that when you break grammar down, people can, just what are you saying to me? What are you being clear about? And we need to break it down into very simple things.
We do. And we're not being diverse or inclusive when we talk in our own words. And as facilitators of training, we know that more than anybody else, for sure. I wondered if, with your permission, we could go through the list.
Yes. How many are
And
there?
this is as a result of Facebook, which came out with, they have identified 50. In fact, there's an additional 21 on top of that. That if you're signing up to Facebook, that you have these options. And I think this is a terrific list that we can work from and then educate ourselves from if we go through it, because social media, as we know, is such a big thing. So start off with that.
Well, just before you start, I think what would be really great is to get some of our viewers to actually, in the comments section when you watch this video, if you have something to say about any of these
100%.
definitions, be great for you to jump in, because I think it's all about the conversation and educating one another. So
and what you identify with as well too, which would be really
Yes.
interesting, and why.
And what offends you as well.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
That would really address everything.
Go for it, Jules.
Okay, are you ready? Agender.
There's androgyny, androgynous, bigender, cis, cisgender, cis-female, cis-male, cis-man, cis-woman, cisgender female, cisgender male, cisgender man, cisgender woman, female to male, FTM.
Okay, stop.
Yeah, so as I say, we pause. So there's quite a lot in
Yeah.
there already. That in the world that I work in, those terms come up quite a lot. But so, for example, female to male or FTM, that would be one. So that's an acronym for female to male.
But what's
That's androgynous. I'd say I'm quite androgynous. But I think we have to also be careful around the difference between gender expression and gender identity as well. So I felt for a very long time that I'm androgynous, which means how I enjoy my life and how I kind of live it. I wouldn't necessarily say I feel one gender or the other more than one gender more than the other. But when I was growing up, I didn't really have understanding about the distinctions of even what gender was. I just thought sometimes I feel a bit like a boy, sometimes I feel a bit like a girl. But that's what my teenage terminology and language allowed me to say in terms of accessing what that meant. When I was growing up, I didn't like labels. People would say, are you gay? Are you straight? Are you lesbian? Are you bisexual? All these things. And I just said, I'm just me. But actually, as I've gotten older, I've thought, I think labels are important to a degree, because without them, people are invisible. So all of this massive long list, we've only got to the
But a lot of these
first one.
I've just read that while you've been talking, and that's just a description.
It is just a
It's
description,
not
but it
it's
gives...
not a person.
No, but at the same time, if people don't even know that half of these terms exist, that's someone's identity in there. That's someone's expression or life in there.
Okay.
So at the beginning we were talking about the binary versus the non-binary, and really the right people to be talking about are people who live this life and educate about in this life. But or rather, and we talked about how in the Native American times, you didn't have just a female or a male gender, and that was it. There were other ways of expressing yourself or terms, and I'll just find the two-spirit, which I just wanted to read out a little bit of
That'd be so lovely.
a little article. It's from the dailyplug.com website. The headline is, before European Christians forced gender roles, Native Americans acknowledged 5 genders. The two-spirit tradition used to be a normal part of everyday life in native tribes, but it's changed basically once Europeans came around. So it wasn't until Europeans took over North America that natives adopted gender roles. There was no real normal in their tribes, and unlike today, people who identified with the other genders were not viewed as some sort of abnormality or as someone to be shunned or even accommodated. In fact, people who had both female and male characteristics were viewed as gifted by nature and therefore able to see both sides of everything. According to Indian Country Today, all native communities acknowledged the following gender roles: female, male, two-spirit, female, two-spirit, male, and transgendered.
It's very important that we have a conversation. It's a journey. We're all on a different part of the journey, and that we all need to be comfortable having that conversation.
But this is also an HR nightmare when you get into business, for sure.
Of course.
Well, only because people haven't set up systems to acknowledge that they all exist.
None of the above. Right?
Yeah, I mean that's such an easy cop out when actually it's a bit like when if I get a form that says are you British, Asian, and then it has all these different things that I could tick, and I think, well, or Pakistani or Indian or Bangladeshi, So, okay, so they've chosen to acknowledge that I might not just be one of those things, so I have a choice to tick and have visibility.
The thing is now, if we take Google Plus, they have female, male, or other. And only 1% come through as other. Now, I mean, you would question the strength of Google Plus, but just that there's 1%.
I personally don't think there's any excuse not to have every single one of those things on every form going, because we were so advanced in technology. You just tick the boxes and you click it and go. And, you know, I think it's really easy to cop out and just say, oh, you know, it's an administrative nightmare. So, I think this is someone's life and identity we're talking about, and it shouldn't be a cop-out.
In GC magazine, that there's looking at Northern Ireland, there's this wonderful young woman who is transgendered, and she's now creating incredible work in Northern Ireland about supporting those that are of transgender nature. Now, what she's actually, through the organisation that she's created, which is the Belfast Trans Resource Centre through SAIL Northern Ireland, and it's trans rights and disability rights, and it's amazing. Ellen Murphy sort of joined the folk there to talk about it. What I was fascinated about Murray's is that in Northern Ireland alone, they had identified 40,000 pieces of legislation that needed changed to support gender identity in life, in the workforce or whatever. And we do have to get to policy to support businesses, to support equality rights, in order for us to know what is legal, what is lawful, to support people. 40,000. This is in Northern Ireland alone, in the policies there.
If somebody came up to me and said, I'm neutral, or non-binary, right now, you know, I am ignorant, and I need to enhance my knowledge to become a better facilitator of training, so that I know how I am either offending or including that member of my work. And I think we need to end it there today. I think we are learning.
It's a big conversation,
all
please.
the time. We are
share.
training interculturally, and we are now training intergenderly, and we need to up our game and up our knowledge. And please, 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 if you have any comments and you would like to participate or give us any suggestions,
please give us your feedback, and also help us, educate all of us in how we can move this subject forward.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.